So welcome to a Window on Wine, online wine tasting with me, Sarah Ball. As it's the Queen's Diamond Jubilee this weekend and it's also English Wine Week, I'm feeling very patriotic, as you can probably see. And we're going to taste today Asda's Three Choirs Regalia 2011. It's available from Asda supermarkets, priced £6 at the moment till June 23rd, normal price £7.30. I'm delighted to say that I'm joined online by two friends who've agreed to be part of this experimental online wine tasting, and they bought the same wine and agreed to hang out online at the same time and taste it with me. So I'll invite my co-tasters to introduce themselves. First of all, Michelle.
I'm Michelle. I live in Chiswick. I am a big English wine fan and looking forward to trying this very regal looking bottle.
And Carl.
Well, I'm not Michelle, I'm Carl, and I also live in West London as well. I'm a big English wine fan, and this is the perfect time to celebrate English wine for all the reasons you said earlier.
So, you can see I've picked my co-tasters very sensibly. So, you've got your glasses prepared, I guess, guys?
No, yeah. I haven't. I'll pour.
Okay, while Michelle's pouring, I'll just tell you a little bit about Three Choirs Regalia. It's Three Choirs is a Gloucestershire vineyard. It's about 75 acres. Apparently, it's won most awards of any single vineyard in Great Britain. First planted in 1973 and first vintage in 1978. Apparently, it has a very unique microclimate. It's protected by both the Malvern Hills and the Brecon Beacons, which makes it a really good place to grow vines. Regalia is a result of a close collaboration between the Three Choirs winemaker Martin Folk and also Asda wine selector Katie Thompson. And it's a blend of 5 grape varietals: Madeleine Angevine, Phoenix, Schonberger, Sigariba and Seville Blanc. And we'll talk more about those in a minute. The grapes were picked from vines up to 30 years old, fermented in stainless steel, so there's no oak going to be masking those flavours, and blending took place after fermentation, my winemaker's notes tell me. So, guys, let's have a look at the wine first of all. Any comments on the colour first of all? Get our white bits of paper. What do you think?
Quite pale, but it's got a bit of kind of yellowness to it.
Yeah, there's a nice tint in it, isn't there?
Yeah, it's not kind of whitish. It's definitely got a yellowness in my dark and light.
So a bit of kind of pale lemon.
Yeah.
And it's clear, which is always a good sign.
Yeah, crystal clear.
If we give it a bit of a swirl, we getting any legs there on the glass? Those are those drippy, downy things that you get on the glass, sometimes called tears, sometimes called legs.
There is, but not a lot.
No, quite thin and angly.
Yeah, I'd agree. I don't think there's too much.
Not very pronounced, are they, at all?
No, not very pronounced.
It's like one or two.
1 or 2, Carl, you can see.
Yeah.
I think that probably means the alcohol's not massively strong, and it's probably not a very sweet wine. Legs or tears tend to indicate either sweetness or something that's very alcoholic.
Should I have a guess at the alcoholic content? I've not looked at the bottle. I'd
be cheating because I've looked at the back of the bottle.
I'd say about 11.5%.
11.5? Good guess. Good guess. Well, we can test that again when we when we taste it. So let's go to a sniff now then. So a bit of a swirl. If we're having problems getting aromas, a good tip is to just give it a swirl with your hand on top of the glass.
I'll get lots of aromas.
Yes.
I think it's quite complex. I think there's a lot going on in there. Mind you, there is 5 grapes, isn't there?
So, Carl, tell me what you
Oh dear,
what you think is going on.
I would have expected a lot of lemony, limey, acidic type smells in there, but I'm getting some sort of sweety apricot honey type things.
I think I'm getting some sort of licorice smell.
Licorice. Ooh, wow, Michelle.
It's not normally something.
It smells delightful.
It's an unusual smell.
Yeah, quite an intense
Yeah.
aroma.
Honey.
What?
There's a honey element.
Honeyed. I think I am getting a bit of citrus. I think lemony, but there's some blossomy kind of thing. Maybe elderflower or something like that. Kind of traditional Englishy smell, maybe.
Not getting it.
But I see what you mean about the something a bit honeyed. Maybe that's a blossom kind of.
Yeah, what's
blossom?
interesting is the minute you start to smell it, you get a woof on the nose, and as you keep trying to pick up something, it trails off because obviously your nose is getting used to the smell. So I think it's time to sniff the back of my hand.
You're resetting your nose. Go for it.
Is it with the palm or the top?
It's the back. You can sniff. I'm sure you don't sniff the palm.
Is that
just
called a backhander?
Right. Let's try again. Ooh, I got something a bit more grassy there, like nettles or something.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think it's quite complex when you think about £6. You did say £6. Was it £5? You said
£6 at the moment on special
£6
offer.
Asda. I think there's a lot going on. I'm interested in the taste because I think.
Well, just hold your horses for the taste, Carl, because I want to tell you a little bit more about the grapes.
Can't I just do this quickly?
It's just under 50% Madeleine Angevine, which is a late flowering but reliably ripening grape, useful for blending, ages well, low acidity, light and fruity with a muscatty bouquet, which may be where you were getting your honey stuff from. Phoenix, apparently, 21% of this blend is Phoenix. It's a recent cross. It's a recent hybrid variety, quite Bacchus-like, which is another popular English grape and growing in popularity. When I say English grape, I mean grape grown a lot in England. Sigariba, 17% of the blend, intensely aromatic, and one of its parents is Gewürztraminer, the German grape. So that's where we may be getting some of those aromatic bits and bobs for. Apparently it's really only used in blending because it's a bit overwhelming. Schönberger, grape number 4, 15%, another German native, good disease resistant, good in our soggy English climate, I think. Produces relatively full-bodied wines and apparently, when fully ripe, has a pink tinge. And finally, bless you, Michelle, the final grape is Sèvres Blanc. It's a French variety, developed in the 1920s, suited to cool climates, and about 10 years ago was the most grown grape in the UK. Really disease resistant, so yeah, it's very good again for all this rain we've been having. You can also use it in sparkling wines, and as you know, England's got a brilliant tradition of sparkling wine, and Sèvres Blanc is one of the varieties we're using with that. Okay, so enough background onto the taste now. I think this is the bit we've been waiting for. So here we go, a little bit of a slurp. So, I think there's also a lot going on there on the palate as well as on the nose. So,
it's got the sweet elements in the taste, hasn't it? It's instantly there, apricot type, sweety, And you
Yes.
said...
But a dry wine, I think. Possibly just off dry, but dry. We can do the dryness test by just putting the tip of our tongues in the wine. So dry, maybe squeaking to off dry, but only just, I think.
I agree. Off dry.
What about acidity?
I think it's dry.
Mouth watering.
I expected more acidity. I think I like acidic wines, but this, you could almost drink this with a pudding, in my opinion.
I don't think it's that sweet.
Well, I'm getting lots of sweet elements in it. Is it because I'm thirsty?
I think the length's got some bitterness to it.
Yeah, I think I'm getting some mouth wateringness. I'm going to have another little slurp just to check.
I think it's got a long length as well. I think the acidity comes out on the length.
It's definitely got some citrus in the taste.
Yes, yeah, I definitely got lemon. And some minerality maybe? There's a kind of dry, not chalkiness, but just something there that's kind of a bit mineral. So good acidity?
Yeah, good acidity.
But not massive acidity. It's not a scary English kind of paint stripper wine.
No.
We don't make those anymore, of course. It's dry, but tastes touch sweet. I think that might be the fruitiness. Good minerality, great length, I think. I'm getting those citrusy flavours are still going on and on.
If you had not said the price, or we didn't know what the price was of this bottle of wine, I would have said it was more than £6. I think it seems to be a very good quality wine for the price. It's excellent value.
Yeah, definitely. And
it'd be interesting to drink this with. I mean, are you doing food pairing with this? Are you talking about food pairing, or is that not?
Yeah. What would you? What would you go with?
Well, I'd like to try it with, first of all, the lighter, the seafood, etc. Salads, goat's cheese, that type of thing, and just work through things a little bit stronger to see where the flavours disappear. Where the length is affected and the flavours dissipate when that imbalance comes. Because I think this is quite a strong flavoured wine. I think it has. I don't think it's like you say. It's not one of those insipid or those English wines or wines that you put in the mouth and they're gone instantly. I think it's very, very enjoyable. It's good. I like it.
Michelle, would you try it with your English asparagus?
Maybe, because especially if it's in a lemony type sauce or something with a jus, because I think that would maybe complement it quite well. I think the wine could possibly overpower something that's very mild flavour. It needs to have a strong taste to complement it. Yeah.
Ready to drink now, I think we'd all agree.
Yes.
Don't want to keep this for very long, I don't think. So.
I think it's ready to drink in the next 10 minutes, the whole bottle.
Well, I'm not going to keep you much longer. I'm just going to explain it's called Regalia, and the reason it's called Regalia is that basically, and it says the story on the back, that the King's champion at the coronation wears full regalia, and in 1325 the local lord from the next door village to this wine was chosen as the champion for the coronation. So a royal connection on Jubilee weekend, very appropriate.
I like the bottle with the crown on it.
You like the crown on it?
Yeah, it feels very regal, the colours and the design.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really quite elegant and classy, and what attracted me to it when I tasted it at the English Wine Producers Tasting was that it not only tastes decent, but the price, $7.30 full price, pretty affordable. Most English wines, even the still ones, are much, much more than that. So I think this is kind of a wine for the Jubilee that everyone can share in. So I'm I'm pretty pleased to have found it.
And it's in it's green glass as well. It's a green bottle, isn't it?
It is.
Sometimes you tend to get white wines in clear glass, and it's a screw top, I see as well, which I think it ticks all the boxes for me. I'd definitely buy that again.
You could possibly think it's red though, a red bottle of wine because of the red on the outside and the red on the top.
Oh, the red closure.
Distance, you would look and think maybe if it wasn't in the white section, obviously, you could possibly think it was red from some of the designs.
May I mention that it was an ordeal trying to find it in Asda?
Oh no, really?
Yes. Am I allowed to say, or is that not?
Yeah, go for it.
Well, basically, we had to ask somebody in the store to find us the English wine, and he says, I think it was quote something like, well, not all the stores stock English wine, so we probably haven't got it. So we looked around and about, and we found a section that seemed to be earmarked for the Blue Nuns and that style of wine from Germany, and they're sandwiched between that type of wine, away from where you'd expect it to be. There it was. So that's where we found it, and glad we did.
Oh dear, right. Well, I'll be really interested to hear what the Asda team think of that, and also how their sales of Regalia have gone over the weekend. We were supposed to have a couple of other friends joining us this evening, one of whom couldn't get hold of any wine at his Asda because it hadn't been delivered, and another one who couldn't find it, and I don't know the reason whether it had flown off the shelves or whether maybe it had not been delivered. But if you are looking out for it, you can find it in Asda, as we keep saying, £6 at the moment, goes up to £7.30 from the 23rd of June. Asda's Master of Wine, Philippa Carr, has written that although they haven't had any English wine on the shelves in Asda for a long time, she wants us to remind people that Asda was the first supermarket to have English wine on the shelves in the 1990s. So I wonder whether, if it's been successful this weekend, there'll be a rosé and a red following. Who knows? Who knows? So any final thoughts from you, Michelle?
I noticed that there was a QR code on the back, which I thought was very interesting. I'll have a play with that later, see what information that gives me that's different thoughts on the back, hopefully.
And Carl, your final thoughts?
Final thoughts, good value for money. It's a lovely wine. It ticks all the boxes for me for a general quaff on any afternoon, cold, raining, or sunny.
Afternoon. Yeah,
and I think it will go well with certain foods. I'd like to try it with some food. I think well done Asda for putting it on a special offer. I guess of £6. I think it's excellent value. I think you can't go wrong with it.
Good. Well, thank you very much to Carl and Michelle for joining us, or joining me. Getting a little bit ahead of myself there. What I was going to do is we've got a couple of websites just to show you before we go. You can regularly see Window on Wine's reviews here on the Window on Wine website, www.windowonwine.co.uk. And if you want to hear more or see more about Three Choirs, then you can find out about their other wines other than their Regalia blend at www.3-choirs-vineyards.co.uk. So, yep, a couple of websites to leave you with there. Thank you very much. I hope you've enjoyed this experimental wine tasting online. Thanks again to Carl and Michelle. And, yeah, here's the next time. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Sarah. See you.
Bye.
Bye.